back again with the Hardcore Project. This is episode number 7. I got to speak to Andrew and Paul from Revulsion. It was an absolute pleasure speaking to these chaps. They're fucking brilliant. I really hope you look forward to the episode by listening to it. And if you enjoy what you're hearing, get it shared about. And fuck me, just do yourself a favor and listen to Revulsion. If you want some all-out aggression and one of the fucking hardest bands you've ever heard in your entire life in your ears, Revulsion is fucking one of them. Please get onto them because they're fucking sick. Hope you enjoy the episode. Right, welcome back to the Hardcore Project. You'll have noticed that there's been a bit of a fucking gap between previous episodes and to now, but we're on episode 7, and I'm joined here by Andrew and Paul from Revulsion. How are we doing, guys?
Doing good, man.
Doing good. How are you?
Thank you very much for asking. I'm very well. I'm glad to see that you two are doing well as well. Big smiles on your faces always helps. So yeah, thanks very much for joining me on the Hardcore Project for speaking, as we say, about Revulsion and anything else that you've been involved with over the years. So I mentioned there that we did a huge, there's not multiple people back here, did a huge deep dive on Revulsion from where you started as to where we're up to now. So as we briefly mentioned just during our little talk, it was back in 2014 that pretty much Revulsion started. So how did that come together as a band? So who was the originals and how did that come to be?
So we were all kind of, Paul wasn't, this was Paul's first band, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'd been playing drums in a band called Trial and Error, and I had previously only done vocals in another band from when I was much younger called Burn the Sunset. And I was doing drums in Trial and Error and I was enjoying it, but I was always saying that I wanted to do something heavier and kind of do vocals again. And I got talking to Jamie Whiteside, who's no longer in the band, and basically we were like, who can we get from the local hardcore scene to kind of get involved? And we got Cameron McQuillian from, at the time, was the drummer of Set Astray. Don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I was going to say Trial and Error and Set Astray. I've heard of both of them, and I didn't actually realise that you were part of Trial and Error.
Yeah. So, and then Ben from Set Astray, who was the vocalist, but I knew wanted to play bass. He was like, he was about to start learning bass. So I was like, get him involved. And it means we've got a backing vocalist as well. And then Paul was like, I've never played in a band, but I've been playing more guitar again. And I was just like, seems like a good match. Do you know what I mean? I knew he listened to similar stuff because he'd been coming to shows and stuff. So I was just like, let's get the ball rolling. And so at the start, it was very much just kind of like a side project.
Yeah.
Do something kind of much heavier. To just kind of more like generic kind of hardcore punk stuff. So, and it just ended up becoming the more main project as the years went by.
Of course. And I mean, the first release that you guys as Revulsion came out with, it was Born Into Suffering, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that saw you going pretty much all up and down the UK. And I think one of the first tours you did was with Seventh Circle, was that?
Yeah, that was...
that was the first time I went to Europe. So it was like 3 days, 4 shows.
Yeah, got the likes of, I think it was Holland and Belgium at one point.
Yeah, there was... Oh, fucking hell. I can't remember the name of the town for the life of me, but it was in like a skate park in like an industrial estate.
Awesome.
And
it was the
story for you. And next door was a biker gang.
They're called like the Blue Angels or something like that.
And when we arrived, they were obviously kind of like, you were getting stared at by a bunch of biker gang
the intimidation.
To crack on, and then later on they were like, make sure you don't cross over to their part of the turf because they've been known to pull out guns. I was just like, fuck off, man. Like, fucking hell. So, and then
it was a cool venue though. It was like inside a sort of like an industrial estate. And they put like a half pipe on the thingy.
Yeah.
So that was like the stage, and then that was like my first experience ever playing a show in Europe as well, and it was food and everyone was lovely and Seventh Circle were amazing, and that was like a great way.
I don't know if you two have probably noticed this over the years, but I feel like the Europeans are far more hospitable when we come 100%. Over as opposed to when 100%. They come over to us.
No, it's there's loads of different reasons. I think it's genuinely like different cultures. Like they're genuinely just kinder in a lot of ways, but I think it's also a lot of them can get like council grants and stuff.
Right. Okay.
So I think that helps them be able to put on a better kind of show and help the artists have a better experience, I guess. But
yeah.
Whereas over here, it's kind of like, if you only expect 40, 50 heads at a show, you can't be offering an artist a good fee and
sadly not
a place to stay and food.
to balance it out. Plus, like, a lot of the venues over there are like independently owned by like the local hardcore scene, and it's just like run by them, or it's like youth clubs, or it's like, you obviously still do get bars and normal kind of venues like that, but I feel like in the UK there's a lot less kind of like DIY based venues in that sense.
Very much so, yeah.
There's like independently owned bars and stuff, but which is still amazing. But all of them have higher fees, obviously, and most of them are obviously in locations where the higher fee is going to be more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess there's loads of different factors, but it's definitely, touring Europe is a good experience. It's always a good time.
Yeah, well, you've been over there a couple of times now, haven't you? So multiple tours over the years over there, which we'll get to very, very shortly. So yeah, I mean, carrying on from there. So obviously we had like Seventh Circle, you just really spawned into Suffering, and obviously Revulsion were growing, and then move on to stuff like Concrete Fest, where obviously you were like, I think you'd be like opening stuff like that up. And how was that when you were first starting out? Like, were people taking names, sort of deal?
Yeah, it was cool. Sam, who put on Concrete Fest, well, it was him that released the demo tape for Born Into Suffering.
Oh, brilliant.
So on his, I think he was doing Concrete Records at the time. And, and then he said, like, do you want to come down? And we were just like, yeah, sure. So I think that was like, was it our second show in England or like outside Scotland? Because we played, I think the show was with Bent Life and War Charge in Leeds in Temple of Boom.
That's right, yeah.
That was the first show.
Water Torture were playing in the Meat Locker. And there was honestly, like, I think our gig had about 20 heads and their gig had about 15, 20 heads. So between the two gigs, you didn't even have like half a room. It was quite bad. But that was that Ollie Buglas.
Oh, blimey, yeah. Do you remember him? Fucking hell.
So we were the only band that got paid that night. But,
yeah, I've heard many of bad stories about sort of stuff like that. I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, when Bent Life actually played Outbreak Fest in like 2017 or 2018, it might be earlier actually. They actually mentioned it on stage. They were like, if anyone knows this guy, make sure he fucking pays us for that tour he did like fucking 4 years ago.
I felt awful because I even gave them a warning. I was like, here, like, because we just started, so I think we were getting paid like 50 quid.
Yeah.
And he paid me in like £5 notes and coins. So I was like, if the guy's paying a 50 quid guarantee in notes and coins like that, then he's not paying an
anyone else
band's guarantee. Yeah. He's just not. So I was like, make sure you get him before he goes. But no, he was obviously already gone.
Yeah, history's told us that he didn't do that well whatsoever. How to not be a promoter 101. Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of other fests over the years that you obviously played as well. I got down Blunt Fest at one point. We also mentioned MLV LTD Fest, where that was the first time I actually managed to catch you guys alongside Nihility, Venom Prison, pretty much most bands on that. Well, no, I think it was 4 or 5 bands on that bill that I'd never seen or even heard of.
Yeah.
And then it was like, right, go to this. And then it was just like, right, up next is Revulsion. Like, okay, cool. Let's see what this is about. And then I remember hearing Misery Hymns and my head just being blown the fuck up because of how aggressive it was. It was just a punch to the throat and you just told to deal with it. Fucking, that was madness. I fucking know. So the MLV LTD Fest was back in 2015. So
what was the venue in Manchester?
That was
I remember it being a great venue.
Sound Control, it was. Yeah, that is now. That's not even there anymore. I'm pretty sure it's been turned into like student accommodation because it's quite close to the train station. But yeah, that saw so many shows over the years. I think I'd seen Malevolence there about 4 or 5 times. I think every time they played there, I was there for it because it was such a good venue. Because the upstairs part.
We slept in the van outside that night. I'm sure outside the venue, and we went to that. What is that club called? That's like it's like the Manchester version of Cat House.
Is it Satan's? Satan's Hollow. Do you know? Funnily enough, I've never been there in my entire life, but I've heard so much about the place.
Yeah,
I've never been.
Oh, it was something.
How bad of a something was it?
I'm pretty sure someone we were with didn't get in because they were wearing like Air Max or Jordans or something, and they were like, you can't get in with Nikes on.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We were like explaining to them like these shoes cost more than like your club mate. And
Yeah.
they just weren't having it, and I was just like, that's awful. That's happened a few times though, where I've been on, and I've never really noticed that up here. Like I think, like if you go to like Solid Rock or Cat House or anything like here, unless you're wearing like a tracksuit,
yeah,
like they'll let you in wearing Nikes or like Adidas trainers, man. That's mental.
Yeah, some places, mate, they're just so strict on dress policy. It's madness, and you don't have to sit there and think, well, if I can't wear this in here, what the fuck do I have to wear just to get in?
Isn't it? It's like Machine Gun Kelly can't wear comfy shoes in the club.
Yeah, that's what it's like. Now, so 2014, as I say, 2014 through 2015, so you're just touring quite a lot on Born Into Suffering, and then moved you on to like Misery Hymns, didn't it? That saw you playing, as I say, so we got like MLV LTD Fest, we played Outbreak Fest in 2016. That was a huge one. I think you had, who did you play with there? I know you played with Code Orange between that, the Glasgow show, was it?
On the Trapped Under Ice headline? Oh,
yeah, so
we played with Code Orange, yeah. So we played with Code Orange twice. So we played with them. Our second show was with Code Orange and Twitching Tongues and Audio.
Fuck me. Code Orange and Twitching Tongues straight off the bat.
And then we played with Code Orange again on the I Am King tour. They were doing dates.
That was in 13th Note.
13th Note. So that was tiny. It was sold out and it was over capacity.
Fuck me.
And they were on tour with At the Gates, but they were doing like smaller shows in between.
That's right, yeah, because I'm pretty sure they did a Brighton one as well, just on a whim on that tour, if memory serves.
So no, I think they did Brighton. I recall that because I feel like Chamber supported them in Brighton.
That's right, yeah, because it was Chamber were mad about it. They were like, dudes, we're supporting Code Orange. Check the fuck out of this, and it was like with one-off show in Brighton. Yeah, I do remember that.
Because I'm pretty sure that's what when I saw that, I was like, I wonder if they're going to do a Glasgow show, and then we got the mail from the promoter like that night being like, there's going to be a Glasgow show. Do you guys want to open? And I was like, yeah, sick.
Yeah, does the bear shit in the woods? Of course we do. No, I'm busy that day. Fuck off.
Do you want to support Code Orange in a basement? Nah.
Just doesn't sound right to me. I think I'll pass. Thanks anyway. Fuck off. Like, it's definitely going to happen, isn't it?
No, that was a good show. And
then you were quite right with it was a Trapped Under Ice Outbreak Fest. So it was TUI and Dirty Money when they both did like a reform, because TUI had taken a break for a while and then came back and that was like, yo, we're back. But that saw you with Just and Mercy were on that, weren't they, as well? That was like a big a big day for Scottish hardcore.
Yeah, that was excellent, man. Like,
it's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it'll come back. I promise it will.
It's happening. It's happening.
Well, you've got other bands up and coming now in Scotland, the likes of like Malignant Methods and stuff.
Yeah,
they're popping through.
There's honestly, like, I think there's like, in my head, I could be wrong, but I think there's like 2 or 3 new bands. I'm not in any of them, but coming from like loads of like new heads and people who've been in other bands and stuff, so it's cool.
Yeah, well, who are the current bands that we've got in Scotland at the moment? So we've got Revulsion, we've got Revolve,
Despise,
Malignant, as we mentioned.
You've got what?
I'm trying to think.
You got Vent. You got
Vent and Null as well.
Kingpin,
mate. Kingpin, what a band!
Oh man, on the top of my head, I feel bad. I'm going to miss someone. It's going to be awful.
We'll mention them in a bit. It's all right. We've got all this time. It's when we'll do shout outs later on, you'll have to write it down and be like, oh fuck, I forgot about these guys. Oh no, that's all right, mate. It happens. I'm the worst for it as well. Like if I get pressured into a question, it's like, what?
Oh man.
Oh yeah, that happened. So you toured with Venom Prison as well. So when you were both in like early doors, when you were both like just sort of rising up.
Yeah, I think they had just started, didn't they? They had Richie from Desolated on, was he playing bass?
And they were still on their first drummer. So I think we did it was an April UK tour with Death Right, I've got down, yeah. And it was meant to be with Death Right and Skinfather.
But Skinfather pulled out, didn't they?
Skinfather pulled out. And
did they break up? They broke up, didn't they?
Yeah, they pulled out and then basically broke up. I think they did like a last show. But so we did the tour of Death, right? And it was just like 5 UK shows, so it was a good run for us. And then on the Cardiff date, I think it was one of Venom Prism's, I think it was like their second show.
Yeah.
And then we got kind of talking to them there, and we arranged. I think we ended up doing it. Was it the next month? I think it was May, wasn't it?
Literally, yeah. Literally, next month you guys were like, right, let's get back on the road.
And then it was just meant to be Glasgow, and then a Bristol show like down their way, and then I think it was Nottingham. But the Bristol show got cancelled, so it ended up just being Glasgow, Nottingham in the end.
Oh, right.
And we had made those stupid hats. We were trying to get trucker hats made. And we had so they sent us back the design or whatever, and we were to choose where to place the logo, and we placed it like way down next to the brim. So it made your top of your head look as if it was like fucking huge.
It was really,
sell them for like £5.
We sold them for £5.
Yeah, didn't sell.
It was just one of those ones, like we got it back, and you know when you open a box of fresh merch and you're just like,
you look at it and you go, we fucked up here.
And we're just like, right, well, we can't sell these, or we'll sell them for like anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just get rid of them.
We cut one of them into like a visor, like a golf visor, and we still have that.
That's been on like every tour.
The famous visor. We'll have to see it on next tours now. I'll keep an eye out for it. I'm trying. That's genius.
Honestly, next time we play a show, I just ask to pull it out of the merch bag. And
pull it out of the merch bag, and it's like the crown of mosh. The crown of Revulsion mosh. If you're wearing that, you have to have everyone in the room, and if you don't, you butched it. That's fair enough. You played a couple of other shows. I mean, there was another one that was quite big, or definitely for them. I don't know why I'm saying it's quite big for me. Fuck off. Was the Renounced Theories of Despair, their release show?
See, we did not.
Oh, see, told you catch me out.
We were on it.
You were on it.
We ended up pulling out because we couldn't. I think we couldn't get a van. I'm pretty sure we had a van. It wasn't like we didn't. It wasn't actually our fault. We had a van booked and planned, and then it fell through like the day before, and we couldn't sort one last minute, and it was just dire. It was dire, so we had to pull out. But I do think Renounced ended up on the Renounced tour that they did with Drawing Last Breath.
That's right.
Ended up being our 7-inch release show. So they kind of so that was cool. So
yeah, match for match sort of thing. Was that the Drain Reject Myself release?
Yeah.
That was through Soaked in Torment Records. I remember when they were about, and then they just disappeared as well.
Yeah,
I think he's still doing stuff, but he's just not doing that. Like I don't know. I think he just does what he wants, kind of thing.
Part-time sort of when he wants to get involved. That's fair enough. You know what I mean? You don't have to be dedicated just because you're part of hardcore. Do you know what I mean? You can just do
he's
it
a properly nice guy as well. He was someone who was like great to work with. He's just so friendly and like so.
When it was the two of them, they were great, and then when it ended up just being one of them, it was great. It was just they were
a pleasure to deal with, sort of thing. No stress. No, I'll do this by this. None of that. That's good. That's what you want. Because I remember when that came out. I'm pretty sure I've got the 7-inch somewhere. What I wanted to do, when I was having a look at the previous things that you've released as well, you know, the Misery Hymns tape that you did, it would look like the Bible cover almost. That looked fucking awesome. Have you guys still got copies of them anywhere?
Oh man, wait 2 seconds.
Oh, here he is. Beautiful. Fucking love today.
So that was Paul that basically did that. So it was what happened was we'd hit up a label to try and put out Misery Hymns, but we'd made the error of already releasing a song off it, just like ourselves, just because we were keen.
Well, yeah, you wanted to gain the traction for it.
I don't know where it is.
The label were really nice, and we're just like, we're not going to do it because you've already released something from it, so like we can't really work around that, but we can maybe work together in the future. But then we were like, let's just do it ourselves. And Paul, it was him. He got like all the. I think it was a Vino Sangre we ordered it from.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, and Paul did all the design stuff.
Oh, so you were the one who sat down and did that all there, yeah.
Yeah, so you just got them on like a big, what would it even be, like A5 sheet of paper or whatever, or is that the small one, A3, whatever?
A3, yeah.
Yeah, and then just like cut out and fold the boxes and that. But I've still got a few that I was having a clear out recently, and I found a few of them. So if you want one, just send me your address. I'll post you one.
Yes, I love today. Oh, that's made me really happy because I'm one of those. I collect as much as I can, you know, within reason of like tapes, vinyls, and so on and so forth. So that's sick. I was looking at it man, made me really happy. Genuine happiness right now. Honestly, I need to contain myself. Jeez. Over the years as well, you played. I think it's 2 now. Like Malevolent's hometown shows. They always bring you back. So the first one was like it was yourselves, Tempest Frame, Art Defiled, and then Malev.
Yeah.
Yes.
How did that one go down? The first one when you were there, because Malev hometown shows are mad.
It was an amazing show, but I remember we played like shit, and the reason was it was the first time. So that was like, obviously their sound is obviously always amazing, and the sound guy was great, and I think it was the first time we'd ever heard ourselves properly on stage, and that was so off-putting that like it just descended.
Shocked you out of playing.
I just remember it just being like. So I remember at first like hitting the first like chord or whatever on guitar and being like, oh shit. And then when you hear everything in the what, it was too much, man. It just threw me off. And I just remember thinking the whole time, like, fuck, we're fucking this. Like, but the show was great, like, and the venue was great and the sound was great, but we just weren't ready for it.
That basically sums it up perfectly. I can't really say anything more. I remember watching Full Motion and just being like, I hope it sounds better out there.
And then the next one up with like was 2018, I want to say, the 5 year. Yeah, it was the 5 year of Reign of Suffering.
Yeah.
The Friday at Yellow Arch, I think it was in Sheffield.
That was with Rough Justice and Street Soldier.
Yeah. Now I was working that night, but I got to go to the second one, the Saturday one. So that was Malev, Split Knuckle.
Yeah.
I want to say Guilt Trip. No, it wasn't.
I think it was Guilt Trip. I think it was actually.
And Bradley's band. Who were they?
Restrict. Restrict.
Was it Restrict?
Or is it Divine Hatred?
No, it was. So it wasn't Divine Hatred. It was what was it? It was the one before that. I can't
Resist.
Think. Resist. There we go. Beautiful.
I'm Restrict. It's Resist.
Resist. That's the one. Yeah.
I had to write kind of like.
Think about it, yeah. Everyone, do you know what? That's one thing with hardcore names. Everyone's got some people have got like such similar names, and it's just one word. So you've got to restrict, resist, and you just get lost in it. But yeah, I sadly I went to the second one. I say sadly, it was a great show, but I didn't get to see you guys in the first one. So how was that one received the next time round? Because you guys would play just before Malev, didn't you?
Yeah. No, I think did Street Soldier.
I think it was Street Soldier, us. Then Rough Justice, Malev.
Rough Justice and then Malev.
So it was.
Okay, yeah. Gosh.
Yeah, I think that was a good show. We played like a couple of new songs and it was cool. I think Ben fell off the stage at one point.
Yeah, I think that was roughly when we had like a few album songs kind of starting to kind of be permanent members in our set, and then we played them for like the year after that until it was released, kind of thing. So it was cool to kind of. It was a cool show, and I remember there was a few folk like moshing, and it looked pretty wild. And yeah, no, it was cool.
That's what we want to hear. That's it. I mean, I know with Revulsion, like when you get up on stage, and if people don't know you, by the end of that set, they will fucking know who Revulsion are. And on the flip side of that, if you know who Revulsion are, you know by the end of it, it's gonna be fucking nuts. Like, as I say, I've seen you guys a couple of times, and I don't think I've ever seen a show where people have just gone, yeah, it's all right. It's either people moving or people fucking running away from people moving. It's absolute madness. I remember when I think the first time I saw you guys actually play the self-titled Revulsion song, and that was just fucking nuts. Like, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like, I go back to Enough to Bleed quite a few times. I think I've listened to that album a ridiculous amount. If I could show my Spotify of the amount of times I've listened to that album, it's getting beyond a joke.
That's excellent.
No, that's good to hear, man, because it sounds bad, but the weird thing for us was releasing it and then not being able to like play it live. Because when you're playing shows live, it's when you talk to people and it's when they go, oh, I love the album, by the way, or like I really like this song, but yeah, we haven't had that. And we're not the kind of band to post like, the album's been out for 6 months. What's your guys' favorite?
Yeah.
So we're just kind of left in limbo. Like, I hope they like it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll release it, and if people like it. But do you know what? I feel like not enough people, especially on the internet, really it's like embarrassing or something. Like they find it embarrassing to just like praise someone for releasing like material. Like I don't see the problem in that. If you want to fucking tell that band or a member of that band that their material's sick, fucking go let them know.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's, and the thing is as well is like there's so many folk who like I don't know, like there's no like levels to it. Everyone's just chilling. So just if you like someone's like they probably wrote that in their mum's bedroom. Do you know what I mean? Like
like, they just sat there and wrote it, created it.
I can't go speak to them, and it's like they wrote that song when they were your age. Like go speak to them. You know what I mean?
Just get involved. When people aren't as scary as they make themselves out to be. It's just you're having a chat with people, isn't it?
Exactly.
People get afraid of doing stuff like that. It's madness. I got really distracted there. Fuck me. So another show on. So you did the Malev hometown shows. I think you did was it a Desolated hometown show that you did as well? Along the like
Southampton. That was one of our last shows before this pandemic.
Before that kicked off. Well, that was like with the likes of Plead, Realm of Torment there.
Yeah.
Very good show.
That was a good show. I really enjoyed that. We did it was just like a 3-date thing for us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We did a headline show in Bristol, and then we did that Desolated show.
Was that with Grief Ritual as well, the Bristol one, I think?
Yes. Yeah. And that venue was tiny.
I think it was the Griffin.
It was tiny. Yeah, no, but it's, I'd never been. And I got up the stairs and I was just like, yo, this is it, fucking hell.
Bristol's got some tiny venues that are really worth going visiting once we can again, of course. Fuck me, don't just go do it now because you're not going to get in. But yeah, I like you just mentioning back there to you mentioned there about Twitching Tongues as well, playing with them. That was like early doors for it wasn't early doors for Twitching Tongues, but they hadn't released as much material. What was that like when you were playing with the likes of them, if you remember?
Yeah, no,
sick. Good. I think that was like Twitching Tongues and that, and Nails. That was like what we were all really into at the time as well. So that was like excellent, and they were like, and they just released their second album. They were about to release their second album.
So
Code Orange hadn't released
I Am King yet.
King yet.
It was just a tour for it, wasn't
it? They were just playing what's it called?
My
the
World.
Big track. Yeah.
Ah, right, okay. So were they still playing like the Code Orange Kids stuff?
Yeah. I think that this
the
is
transition between
video, what was it? Yeah. This is hardcore, like 2014 or 2015, the first time they played that. So I mind that being like the real big thing for that band, and everyone was passing that video around, and that was like what their pure escalator up.
Yeah.
That's
it was like
band
good
to watch
time.
over
It was
the
like
years,
a
isn't
good time for those bands.
And Disgrace from that tour as well, weren't they? Or I'm pretty sure I saw them on the tour poster.
So I think that was that the same?
That was the second time round.
That was the second time round.
So Twitching Tongues did the tour with Code Orange Kids. I think there were still Code Orange Kids at that point.
Yeah, because there was a transition period where they were just getting ready to go up to Code Orange when they were releasing I Am King.
I think that was it. And then they came back and did the I Am King tour, which is the one we played with in 13th Note. Twitching Tongues and Disgrace did a tour, and they played Audio.
And I think, is that up in Glasgow, that one?
Yeah. But we also played the London show in Boston Music Rooms.
That was, and who else was on that? Was it Employed to Server on it at one point, I think?
Potentially. That would probably fit, yeah.
I want to say they were, but don't quote us on that. But yeah, so you played with them a couple of times then, but each time, fucking absolute madness by the sounds of it. I've yet to go to a Glasgow show or any form of Scottish shows, but I've always watched them online, and they always look like they're fucking mental. Oh,
it's a good scene up here, man. It's
yeah, you all seem like you proper gel together, and it's not like, do you know when you get like some scenes where you see like they got like fucking, I don't know, crew over there, and crew over here, and they're all fucking staring each other out. And it's like, what are you doing? Just be mates. Right?
I think there's definitely like everyone's got like friend circles and stuff, but I don't think it's. But I think
it's like, not cliquey.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
It's just like, I don't know. Everyone just tries to like help everyone, and I think there's been quite a lot of drama over the past like couple of years up here. So I think now that that's all out of the way, I think everyone's just kind of at a point now where we're like, let's just get on with it and kind of.
Well, there's that, and you're getting older as well, aren't you? So it's like you realise it's petty beef.
Well, yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like I just want to go to gigs and chill. I don't want to Aye.
Yeah, I can't be asked with the fucking. Why are you being a child at me? Just sit down, enjoy yourself.
No.
But yeah, as I say, I've seen loads of sets up in Scotland, and as I say, they always look like they're just fucking so well received. And you mentioned there, Andrew, that you were part of Trial and Error there. You did a show for them. Was it 2-3 years ago? Was it just like a one-off show?
2018. I think Paul actually played second guitar for us that night as a one-off.
Oh, awesome! As just part of the one-off show there, yeah.
Yeah. Just because, like, why not? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you can play guitar. Do you know these songs? Fucking do it.
It was one of those things, like, the whole time we were together, we were like, we should probably get a second guitarist and it would probably sound a lot better. And we were just like, yeah, and we just never did.
Yeah.
And then we got back together, like, I think one time before for a charity show. And it was quite last minute and we just kind of had one practice straight on. So with this one, I think we got two practices in?
Two practices, yeah.
Yeah. And we're just like, fuck it. Like, I think it was at the time when I was in All For Your Death and we had a practice space.
Yeah.
It was much easier to practice. So we were just like, Paul, when are you free? And he was like, I can do this day. We were like, right, let's just all go up and just spend a few hours at a time just getting it tight. So that was actually really fun, having like the live stage, like guitar on both sides.
Yeah.
Feeling it all from all angles.
Because I could hear the guitar more. So
which definitely
I loved it as well.
No,
I like being able to play it and like, because that was like the music that, well, like I was really into all their bands, like getting into hardcore and stuff as well. So it was like a nice moment to like
be a part of
like
it.
play in one of those bands, and like I love all those songs and stuff. And yeah, no, it was cool for me.
That's sick. And I'm just going off that now. I'm just thinking back. I think if memory serves, and I didn't even know Andrew actually played in Trial and Error, but I'm sure I actually saw them at like Ghost Fest 2013 on the second stage. I feel like I saw you guys there, and I really enjoyed it. And then I just sort of, because back in the day, 2013, right, I was one of those little weird kids when Ghost Fest and that was about, when Chelsea Grin and Devil Wears Prada and stuff like that were playing it. That was me going, I was buzzing my little tits off.
Nothing wrong with that.
Do you know what really annoys me though? Is that I look back on a couple of those, like, you know, just like the lineups and stuff, and mate, I missed out on so many fucking good stuff. Like,
that was the same
year.
That was it. Was that the same year as Harm's Way? Or was that Harm's Way might have been the year after, but I remember it was Trial and Error, Heavy Hands, and All Shall Perish played the main stage as well.
Are you fucking mad? Oh, see, there's so many things that I missed out on, but I was like I say, I was looking at them and I was like, how the fuck was I so excited for Chelsea Grin when Harm's Way were down here playing and stuff like that, mate? It really wound me up.
Harm's Way played the second stage as well.
They did. Yeah. So many things I missed out on.
I saw speaking of Twitching Tongues as well, they played the third stage, which was that tiny room.
That tiny room, yeah. I've seen I was in there for it was either 2014 or 2015, but it was when I want to say it's 2015, because when Slaughter to Prevail were coming around. I think it was like their first UK tour, and Alex didn't really speak like English at all, and so their guitarist was like, right, so we're Slaughter to Prevail, we're fucking heavy, watch this. And then Alex just picks up the fucking mic, and then this just Russian hatred comes out, and that tiny room, as you say. So I can imagine seeing Twitching Tongues in there, because it had a bar attached to it, didn't it? Like, how the fuck people's drinks won't just launch everywhere is beyond me. And speaking about that as well, I just wanted to ask you, as a band, how annoying do you find it when people are moshing and they've got a fucking drink in their hand and they spill it all over?
Fuck me. Yeah, I know. Just
what a fucking wind up.
I don't get it. I've never gone to a gig. Like, I feel like if I'm going to a gig and I'm drinking, it's because I know I'm definitely not going to mosh.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And if I'm going to a gig and it's a band that I know is probably going to make me want to mosh, I'm not going to have a drink in my hand.
Right next to the pit.
Aye. It's there's nothing worse as well when you're trying to, like, this is like awful chat talking about moshing, but
it's got to be done.
Nothing worse when you're trying to mosh and the floor is fucking soaking. Come on. Clean that up.
It's such an annoyance, because A, it's fucking common sense. You know people are going to be moving around. B, why have you got a drink next to the fucking space?
Yeah.
Play the game. It's so frustrating. I actually, I think it was one of a show back in the day. I want to say 2015 or 2016. Malev were doing a tour with some bands, and it was in this little Manchester venue, and someone had literally spilled. I think they had two sips of their beer, and the rest of it was on the floor. And I'm one of those, because I'm so small, I have to cartwheel to make my mosh known. And I remember flinging myself into the barrier, and everyone being like, "What a dickhead!" And it was like, "No, it wasn't me. It was the pint all over the floor. It wasn't me." I had to try and recover from it, but it was like little bitch ass. It was upsetting. But yeah, do you know? I love the topic of moshing, right? Because you always get those people who sit there and they're like, "We can't talk about it out in the open because it's just not cool." It's like, mate, people are going to talk about it whether you like it or not, right? Have you guys ever actually acquired any injuries over the years from just being an idiot? Because I know I have. I've got quite a few.
I think when I was younger, definitely like walking into people and stuff, get my face smashed in. I remember going to see By My Hands in Manchester when I was younger.
Wow. Okay.
And and someone just kicking me full force in the face, and just when you develop like a kind of sense of like,
I know. The amount of times I used to go home and I'd feel fine, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be covered in like bruises and marks from just
lumps and bumps.
Oh man.
And you don't have to sit there thinking, how the fuck did I get this one?
I broke my nose during By My Hands in Glasgow. It was Fletch, who used to play bass for Trial and Error, broke my nose. Awful. My old band had just opened the show, and it was a Your Demise, Last Witness, Heights, By My Hands, Burn the Sunset, and Ivory Blacks.
Fucking hell.
And we just played, and it was an awful set, and I was like, I'm fucking over this. By My Hands set up really fast, and they went straight in, and I was just like, I'm just going to go straight in. And Fletch he was about half the size of me at the time. Still is, and he jumped up and just spun and just punched, and my nose just went across my face. And
no!
Broke it. I didn't get it fixed, so it's still squint, and like I can like wait.
Whoa, that's fucking mad!
Well, that's from Fletch. So I don't know if you ever see this, but yeah, that's probably the worst thing I've ever got.
But it is one of those things that you're saying there. People find it weird talking about, and it is because it is like. It is a weird thing. Do you know what I mean?
When you do it, like when you watch someone mosh, it's like, what are you doing?
It is such a weird thing to think. Like,
it's really enjoyable though when you're doing it. Like you don't think about it whilst you're doing it. Like afterwards, if when someone catches you on video and you think, oh god, I look like a fucking idiot. But at the time you're moshing, the music's pumping. It's like that's a two-step. I'm gonna do that. And then you look back at it and you go, oh man. Why did I do that? But when you're feeling the music, and you're just going to do it.
Yeah. I think the older I get as well, the more I'm like, nah, man, I can't, not anymore. Like, it's 2 minutes, like 2 weeks after it. I'm like,
it's like drinking, isn't it?
I can't remember who it was that tweeted it, and they were like, no amount of exercise can ever prepare you to mosh into one band. Like,
no, you can go to the gym solidly for 3 years and be the biggest cunt in the room, and someone will watch you mosh. And the next day, you'll come out of it and you'll be like, oh, I haven't moved things that I've moved in the gym for 3 years and I can't feel my legs. What the fuck is going on?
Oh, man.
Horrible.
It's awful.
But as you compared it to drinking as well, I didn't realise just how big of a thing that was until I started getting older. Like, I say I'm older now, I'm only 25. But, like, when New Year happened and I had a couple of drinks there, I woke up the next day and I felt fucking dog. And then it happened again the next day, and I was like, does this fucking end?
Yeah, no, you hit an age, and that's
it's awful, man. It becomes something that you only do at like celebrations.
Celebrate,
like close friends' birthdays, other half's birthdays, maybe a wedding, but nah.
But if someone goes to you, you coming down a pub on a Friday night? I'm fucking busy that day. I can't. How do you know? I know I'm busy. All right, I'm not doing it. We got really sidetracked there. That's my fault. I just chat shit all day. It's a gift and a curse, believe. Now, you've got a couple of more tours during like 2016, 2017, just before it was during the time you were probably releasing Drain, Reject Myself, with the likes of, I know you got to play with Jesus Piece and Wolfpack over in France as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So Jesus Piece, we did the UK tour with Nihility, and I think we just played 2 or 3 of the shows. Glasgow and Leeds.
Yeah.
Paul, are you able to help me here? Can you remember?
No.
I think I've got down Glasgow and Leeds. Yeah. And
I think we played Glasgow and Leeds. I think it was in the August.
Mhm.
And what was the other one? I can't even remember.
I want to say Nottingham, but
Glasgow. I think we just did Glasgow Leeds actually. Now I think about it.
so I know you definitely weren't on the Manchester one because I was due to go to that show and then I fucking couldn't for some reason. That again, I don't know why, but yeah. When you played with Jesus Piece, that must have been pretty cool as a band, just to tick that off your list as well, along with a plethora of other bands that you've got there. Obviously, as you're growing, obviously having Jesus Piece there, I thought would have been pretty cool. What was the Wolfpack tour like when you were over in Europe for them?
Oh, sick.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, they're really friendly, and I think everyone we met was really nice, and like all the cities in France as well was like amazing. Like get time to walk around and everything, all the cathedrals and stuff. And I remember that being like a really good tour.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was quite good to do like we've done it a few times now, and I actually quite enjoy it. Instead of doing like a full tour, we just do like a short run in like one country and just do like 3 or 4 cities in the one country, and it's really good to kind of.
You did another one in Spain, didn't you? Where it was just a couple of days there, but you stayed predominantly within Spain.
Yeah, we did 4 days in Spain?
Yeah,
So
I think
really
we were trying to get like one show in Portugal, but it never ended up happening.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was maybe like it was like I think it was like a Sunday or a Monday. I think it was a Monday,
right?
And they just said like there's no point in putting on a show because like
it won't get that well received, sort of thing. They're better for Fridays and Saturdays, aren't they? The Portuguese. We're not
but
coming
Spain was great. Like Spain was amazing.
Oh, it was a fantastic.
It was like a sort of different vibe to what like a hardcore show is in the UK or in Europe or in like mainland Europe. But it was more like we played this show in Barcelona, and it was more like no one had came to see us. It was just like people who were at the pub or whatever. But it was still like a good crowd, and it was cool, and it was like different. It's the first time we ever got asked to play an encore, but we were playing with like a fill-in drummer who only knew the songs in the set, so we just played like one of the songs again.
Yeah,
I don't think they knew, and it was like that went down pretty well. Like
that's sick. And a couple of other shows that you did as time went on was I got down Vane, Year of the Knife, Judiciary, and Vamshara. I think the Judiciary Vamshara one was all one show, wasn't it? When they came over.
Yes, so we played Return to Strength when
London and Glasgow. Did we play Glasgow?
No, we didn't play Glasgow. Vamshara, Judiciary did.
Where was Return to Strength? Where was that one?
It's in. What is the place called?
Is it not like Oxford or something like that? I don't want to say it's like
Querfurt or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Ah, right, okay.
That was a bit of like a weird setup as well, because they've got like it's like a sort of like outdoor festival with like tents and stuff.
Oh wow!
But it's on the grounds of like.
Did that set get recorded, or was that one of the ones that got recorded on YouTube? I saw that.
Sure it is.
I thought I saw that. Now
but it's like on the it's like in like a what would you call it? Like it's like next to like football fields and stuff, and like
it's a football ground.
Yeah, but there's like other stuff happening as well. But I remember, there was like a. What was in?
It's like a smaller league football ground, isn't it?
Totally. So they had like the football game on like the Saturday morning or whatever, and everyone from the festival was going over to watch that.
All these people playing football thinking, look at all these people coming to watch us. Like, no, we're going.
They were saying to us that like the football teams that were there, one team was quite left-leaning, like left wing, and one team was known for being quite far right-leaning. And there'd also been a AFD march in that town that morning.
Fuck.
So we watched a football game, and the team that were the underdogs were the left-leaning team, and that was the ground that we were at.
Yeah.
And they won like 7-2 or something. It was an absolute thrashing.
Slaughterhouse.
And then when we went a walk like into the town, they put up all the AFD posters and all the lampposts being like vote AFD, and they'd all been ripped down and like torn down and that. It was quite mad to see like that there's obviously still a big political divide over there as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, stuff you don't really think about until you're there, but then when you see it like in person, it's like, whoa, this is still
100%. Do you know what I mean? It's like you always hear about it, but you never really think about it. And yeah, it was pretty eye-opening
considering you were over there and seeing it. I remember seeing that set as well, now that I'm thinking about it, and that was well received. And I remember seeing some people there just absolutely battering the fuck out of the mates. Just
Oh, that's probably Tony. That's Tony from Beatdown Hardware. Honestly, that's. If you ever see him in the front, he just kills people.
he really, if that's who it was, then yeah, fair play. The dude fucking hurts.
No, every time you see us play, I always get worried. I'm like, oh fuck.
Who's he gonna hurt next?
Oh, honestly.
You had the pleasure of releasing Enough to Bleed through Beatdown Hardware, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's one vinyl I've definitely got. I don't know which variant I got, but I've got that one. And you know, I was thinking about it, when I was seeing other merch details as well. There was a white long sleeve that you did with I think it was like the ram skull.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I was seeing a girl at the time in Manchester, and that was at Outbreak Fest 2016. She still fucking got it. She's still got that long sleeve. I think she lives somewhere else now, and I'm like, I fucking want that back. To get in contact and be like, can I get my shirt? What a weirdo, get away from me. Like, I'm not going to do it, obviously, but yeah, I'm pretty sure she still got it. So if she ever listens to this, give it a fuck back.
Yeah.
Carrying on with other shows and festivals, obviously, the My Love Hometown shows being in Sheffield. Another Sheffield fest was Dead Fest, wasn't it? That you played alongside with, I think it was like 50 Cal, Broken Teeth.
Yes, I'm just remembering it in my head. Mercy played that as well. Did I just play that as well?
I think I saw them on the.
Was that Alex McKinnon put it on?
That's the one, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one. So you played Sheffield there a couple of times now. So obviously, I'm trying to think of you played. You were due to play a Manchester show as well, but unfortunately, I think you guys pulled out the Blistered show. You guys and Blistered and I think Higher Power were the three sort of like main bands I was looking forward to seeing, and then when you guys pulled out, I was kind of disheartened. You know, you took yourselves away from me, boys. And I was upset.
It was one of those ones. It was complicated because we were meant to be playing 2 shows, and then our drummer couldn't get it off work, and it just ended up. We thought we could play one of we thought we could save one of them and do one, but we ended up doing none. So it was just a fucking disaster.
Yeah, well, it does happen though, don't it? Do you know what I mean? Some things you just really can't plan for.
Yeah, 100%.
But I remember that show because I think it was Ryan Thompson who was putting it on. I don't think he really does shows anymore. But yeah, when I saw Revulsion and Blistered and High Power together all on one fucking, I'm sure Misery were meant to be on it, but they didn't even end up coming over to the UK.
Was that the same? It was the same. That was like the same week as Concrete Fest it was on,
That's
right?
the one. Yeah, because Blistered headlined one of the days long, and then
I think they were the Sunday.
I was at
Power Trip for the Friday.
I want to say that's right, yeah. And you were at the show, Andrew, did you say?
I was at Concrete Fest, but I missed Power Trip on the Friday because I can't remember why. I think
it was just travel arrangements.
Aye, maybe. I think there was another gig. And I feel like I went to, because I knew I was seeing Power Trip on the Sunday in Glasgow.
Yeah.
I was like, I can miss Power Trip at Concrete, catch them in Glasgow, and catch the other band I wanted to see in Glasgow on the Friday or something. So I came down to Concrete Fest on the Saturday. So that was why I think I missed them.
And that Concrete Fest was a pretty stacked one, I remember seeing. I think like the Beautiful Ones were on it as well at some point. I think CDC as well.
Fair play.
Just got off memory, but I think.
The last Concrete I remember had Laid to Rest and stuff, and that was fucking mental.
Again, fucking huge band there, and I don't think they've been to the UK since.
I don't think they have. No, I think they just did that run and then. But they haven't. I don't think they've done much since. I think they just released like a 3-track and maybe like another. Was it a split or a 3-track?
I know they did a 3-track there, yeah. And then I think they just play like one-offs now in America, just every now and then they'll just play like. It's not This Is Hardcore, but maybe FYA or something. They'll just put themselves on there and it's quick 10-15 minute set, and then they go away again for another 3 years. It's genius, to be fair, if you can fucking do it.
got to lift weights for the next show, innit?
Yeah, that's what it is. If memory serves as well, you did the Tone Management show in Manchester with I think it was Renounced
and Leached.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's cool.
Depravity were on that as well, and I remember I got really drunk that night because I was meant to go to Shedfest I think the next day it might have been Shedfest, or there was another festival, I think, or something the next day, and I physically couldn't go because I just got too fucking mashed at that show. And I remember I was speaking to, I think it was both Dan's in Renounced, and I just, on a whim, because I had Dutch courage, I was like, can you play this song? And they were like, yeah, do you know what, we'll do it for you. And then I'm pretty sure Dan looked at me and went, this is for him. And I was just like, hey! I was the only person moshing like a fucking idiot. And yeah, I'm too drunk. I shouldn't be allowed. It's one of those.
I enjoy it. As long as you didn't take your drink into the pit.
No, see, I downed it and then went into the pit. So if it would have happened, it'd have been me throwing up everywhere. And then, oh God, that would have been hideous. That's one thing I'm glad I've never actually done. I know one of my favorite shows that you guys actually ever did. It was in Preston. So I used to be involved with like the boys who put that show on. It was Revulsion, Revolve,
All Fear Death.
All Fear Death, and not Chamber. I can't think of the name. Cauldron. It was Cauldron.
Oh fuck, Cauldron, yeah.
Yeah, it was you four, and yeah, it was in a tiny Preston pub. I can't remember, Stanley Arms, I want to think it's called now, and it's only an 80 cap venue, and yeah, that thing went off.
I remember that.
Sick.
I remember people were still having lunch as we were loading in.
Yeah, downstairs. Yeah, I think you just played, maybe. I think it was like Ready Eye.
That was it. It was
Ready Fest.
Yeah, Ready Fest.
That was it. And then you were coming back up north, and then obviously Preston along the way, and then off you went from up there. But yeah, you just done Ready Eye, and then you were coming back up. But like when we were trying to invite people to this show, I remember a few people being like, "Oh, so what's like Cauldron and Revulsion and that like? Is it going to be a nice soft show?" And I thought, if you're asking questions like that, I don't even think you're going to be fucking ready for what's about to happen. And I need to apologise to Revolve, actually, because again, I got pretty pissed. And I'm pretty sure they had tapes on their counter. And I was like, how much are your tapes? And they were like, I think they were only like £3. And like in my back pocket, I just had shrapnel of change. And I think it was their vocalist I gave it to. I've forgotten his name.
Sure.
And I literally just went, yeah, mate. And I just put all this shrapnel in his pocket and grabbed one of the tapes and just walked out. And I turned back and he sort of looked at the shrapnel in his hand and went, what the fuck? Looked at me and I'm like, cheers. And off I went. That was it. I was gone. So apologies to him. But yeah, if he does see that, then, well, at least I've apologised now.
There you go.
I know you guys are actually being put on 3 shows from what I can see, ready for the future. The first one being when UK Hardcore returns in London. You were one of the first bands actually announced on I think it was like 10, 12 bands that were announced. That thing I'm fucking really looking forward to, because that poster looks stacked, and they've not even finished announcing everything yet, have they? They said.
I think they said there's still like 1 or 2 announcements. Maybe a reunion. Oh, they announced that. They announced it, didn't they? Have they announced it all now?
I don't know.
I've
I have a feeling they might have announced it.
I
have a feeling it might be all announced now, to be fair, but there might still be. I mean, you know what?
Well, you know what the Londoners are like. They'll fucking pull something out of nowhere, and it'll be someone huge.
And the thing is, if it's not going ahead in April anymore, so you never know when it's going to go ahead. So there might be like 1 or 2 bands that can't do it, and then other bands will join on. So yeah, but either way, it's going to be. It looks wild. I'm excited.
Stacked, and it's literally like when you get some shows like they say, "Oh yeah, we got this coming up soon." It is literally up and down UK hardcore. Like it is up and down the UK for bands. Yeah. They've specifically picked bits and bobs and literally putting it all in one place. So it's going to be so cool. Once that comes back around. And
I think it'll be good. I reckon a lot of folk will travel to it as well.
That's what I'm thinking. I was literally just about to say, I'm hoping when shows do come back, shoes could come back, but when shows do eventually come back, because I know loads of people, if you're acquainted with like the UK hardcore page and stuff, you always get the people who chat and say, yeah, I'll be there soon. I'll go to shows and that, but then they don't turn up. But I think once these shows actually do return, I think every show is pretty much going to be either sold out or near full capacity. That's my hope, at least. I think everything's just going to be nuts.
For the first few months, or at least like 6 months, once shows are back, I reckon it'll be a really good time. And even if everyone that comes to shows when it's allowed back doesn't stick around, I reckon we'll still get a lot more numbers. So I reckon I'm hoping that if every scene does like 1 or 2 shows that are really good lineups once everything's back, and it could really boost the whole like UK up and down.
Yeah, I think so. Because think of the amount of bands that have released something and then not been able to play a show. Or amount of bands that have started and then not been able to play a show.
Of course, because there's been a load of bands in the UK and probably abroad as well. I've not really checked up on much on America or in Europe, but we've had a few bands who have made, lockdown bands who they had little projects that they were deciding to do, and then obviously this time is giving them that time to actually get it out and stuff. We've seen so many new bands come through. It's good. It's refreshing because it means that we're not giving up, which we don't want to happen, obviously.
It's one of those ones. It depends on like where the band's situated and stuff as well. Because like for Revulsion, like this lockdown's not been the best because we all live in Glasgow and surrounding areas, but we're not close. So the only one that I'm really close to is Duncan, the other guitarist. But apart from that, Paul's in Paisley, Craig's in the south side. I'm in like the edge of the east next to the city centre. Duncan's in the city centre, and then Ben's out in Greenock. So it's like we can't really, if the restrictions are even like tier 2 or tier 3, we can't have a practice because
it's like, still not allowed during that time, is it? And I don't know.
The Spies, my other band, is able to because we all live within like, because 2 of them live together. Well, 3 of them technically live together when they're here.
Yeah.
And then me and Jit. So it's like when there was a point where it was like up to 3 households, we were able to.
Well, yeah, because the rules stipulated.
So it just kind of got to work with what you can work with, I guess. You know what I mean?
I didn't really want to go too much into it, but I did want to quickly mention about that because just out of curiosity mainly. But obviously, with being in Scotland, it's a little bit different, obviously, to England because of the lockdown restrictions. But has it been a lot tougher on you guys in terms of like actual restrictions? Then has it? Have you guys been like imposed further?
I think it's pretty similar, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's just some of the timings have been different. So there's been some points where we've been in lockdown for maybe a week where you haven't. And then there's been some points where you have been in tier 4, but we've only been in tier 3 or 2. But I think right now, as far as I'm aware, everyone's in lockdown still.
I think everyone's in complete lockdown at the moment, sadly.
But yes, it's been up and down. That's the issue, because there was a point like kind of end of the summer where it did seem like everything wasn't doom and gloom, and that everything was kind of coming back to normal. They were doing that eat out to
help out. I remember that. Yeah,
and everyone was like, "Fucking me!" I thought I was doing good by meeting my pals.
Yeah, and then we got fucking finger whacked at it. Like, why have you gone outside? Like, you told us to do that.
So, and I get it. I mean, but it's just like there's not really been much. I'm at college studying, and I can't do that just now because it's all in the college, and I work part-time in a barbershop, and that's shut. So right now I'm just kind of waking up and watching TV.
Just coasting on by. I fully feel with you there, mate. I'm the exact same. It's just sort of wake up, wait.
And then Paul's been grafting. He's been working for all 3 of us, so it just shows the different kind of circumstances and different scenarios you can find yourself in.
Very much so.
I used to work in supermarket retail till like the end of summer last year. So if I still did that, I would still be working through this, but I'm not, unfortunately. So
it's one of those. It's just one of those situations, and it's proper mad, and we don't even know where we're up to. But I mean, hopefully, with a bit of luck, we'll be getting further and further out of it. So.
Yeah, I hope so, and hopefully we don't go back to gigs and it's just only seating ourselves, because that would be
that would be fucking daft.
If I get to go to a gig or play a gig this year, I'll be pretty happy. Do you know what I mean?
I'm hoping.
That's what I'm asking for.
I've got high hopes that maybe by the end of this year we'll start seeing something, even if it just means all right, the band's playing and restrictions of like capacity. So say for example you used to having 150 people in this venue and it's just down to 50. Doesn't matter. We've still got people in there. We can still make a move. That's what we want at the end of the day.
And we'll figure it out. I mean, if venues need to get those temperature tests at the door, just do it.
Yeah,
I don't see what's wrong with that. Like, my college did it, and there was folk who would turn up, get their temperature taken, and get sent home. So why can't venues just do that?
You would have thought, wouldn't you?
So I reckon it'll be all these things will be getting implemented. I'm hoping behind closed doors. I don't know personally, but yeah.
Yeah, what do you know? Yeah, that's what secrets you holding on to there? Another two things that you got announced for was Mosh on the Tyne as well, which I think is September this year. So maybe hopefully see that go down. And you got recently, I think it was only the other day, Super Bowl of Hardcore. That's over in France.
Yeah.
So
that's
hopefully
July.
So we've got
crossed. But again,
three potentials there.
I know, but talk about like same with
horrible,
like the COVID hassle, and then we've got the Brexit hassle to deal with as well. So
Fucking
don't know
hell,
how that's going to affect. Like,
well, I think as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong. The EU turned around and said that it was actually the UK that declined
oh, I seen that.
the free travel thing, but France has come out and said that they're okay with it. So I reckon for the Super Bowl, if that was able to go ahead for us,
Yeah.
France might be all right, but I don't know about the other countries. It's all up in the air.
It really is. I mean, fuck me. I'm in no way, shape, or form a politician, and I will never probably be able to keep up with whatever the fuck that they're saying. But it's just give us some clarity, man. You know what I mean?
But they don't know either. That's the issue. I mean, it's the blind reading the blind, but the difference is they're blind with 100K a month, and I'm blind with nothing.
And they don't even take that into consideration, which is the worst part. They just sort of go, "Yeah, well, that's your problem to deal with." It's like, fuck off! No. Like that's not the way to look at it.
Grab a juice, what you saying?
Yeah, of course, mate. No worries at all. Just whilst I got you there, then, Paul. We mentioned some like tour stories that were going on and stuff. Is there any funny tour stories that you can think of just off the top of your head? Obviously, we'll get Andrew on it as well.
We were talking about one earlier, so it wasn't with Revulsion. It was with Mercy. We're playing this show in Belgium, and I can't remember why, but the venue had got like cancelled last minute, so it got moved to someone's house. I was in like a sort of, it was a pretty cool house, and we played in their kitchen. And it was like the same town that Stella's made in. So we made like this trip out afterwards to go and see like the factory and stuff and thingy. But the dudes had said to us, like, you have to be back before, I think it was like 11 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
Because the door gets locked. So I think we turned up late. There was another band staying in the house. So we were like shouting up to them to like open the door. They said the back door was open. But the way the back door was, I can't really remember it. You'll probably remember it better, Andy, but it was like almost as if you go out the back door and you go down this like big set of steps like into the garden.
Right.
So there's these like huge hedges all around the garden. So we had to like try and hop this hedge. And our pal, like wee Sean, so we like grab Sean and we're like trying to chuck him over this hedge, but he just goes like through into the hedge and just stops, right? And you know that way like your voice goes when you're like upside down, so I just hear him going like, it's like, Paul, Duncan, help me. So we have to like push him. Meanwhile, the woman next door looks out her window and I think she thinks that we're breaking into the house.
Shit.
So she starts shouting at us and like we can't understand her, she can't understand us. So at first we're trying to be like, no, don't worry, it's fine. But she clearly wasn't getting it, so we had to just plow on. That was like the half of us that came home. The half of us that stayed out, they had like seen, so they're like walking around this wee town, and I'm sure it was like it was like a jazz bar or something like that. So they were like, oh, let's go there. So they went there. It's like one of those places where you have to buy tokens for drinks before you go in. So they like got like a bunch of tokens and then they went in, and it turned out it was the one night every like 3 months where instead of being like a jazz thing or like chilled out, it was an industrial goth rave. And they'd already turned all their money into these tokens. So
all this stuff, like yes.
And they were like, fuck, we have to spend time here because we've only got tokens now. So they ended up spending like 2-3 hours there.
Oh my god, that's fucking brilliant. So that was over in Belgium. How long ago was that with Mercy?
I think that was like
I think it was like December 2015.
Good while back there.
I want to say, because we did a show in London with Blind Authority and Bitter Youth, and then we went over to Europe for a couple of shows, and then came back and did the Leeds on the way back, also with Bitter Youth.
Good lads in Bitter Youth there. I know Chris quite well. Me and him go back from we did like this weird little camping thing, but it was like Cubs. It wasn't Cubs or Scouts, but it was something similarly associated with it. We ended up going on like this little camping trip, and then like I remember we had like maybe 2 or 3 years away from, or like 2 years away from each other, and then it was like I'm going to a show, and then his band was playing. I was like, I didn't know you played bass, and then It just went from there.
That's sick.
But yeah, so that it's mad how little things just. So when you mentioned Bit of Youth there, I was like, oh, I know those guys really well. Yeah, that's fucking just the one time that you turned up to this fucking venue and it ends up being the cyber industrial goth night.
I was see when they came back and they were like, we've just spent like £30 each on like expensive drinks and industrial goth rave. I was like, oh, fuck this, man. Thank fuck I didn't go out. You know what I mean? Oh, it's chaos.
Is there anything else that happened? Like, say, for example, with Revulsion on tour, has any mad stuff happened while she'd been out in Europe or just even in the UK?
Try to think. Fucking hell.
2 seconds.
So, oh, Jesus, I'll tell some stories. So when we were on the Malevolence tour, I won't go into too much detail. I have to keep some things kind of...
Oh, of course, mate. Keep it as secret as you need it to be.
Members of the band and people they were with, they bought, I don't know what it is, fucking like lean and all sorts in bottles and prescribed bottles and stuff. And we'd actually left it, I didn't realise, but they'd left it in the front of the van in the window.
All right.
So when you're in front of the van, that's pretty much all you can see. It's like, it's like the dashboard for the front. And we crossed, I think it was 9 borders on that tour with a bottle of, I was fucking raging, man. We also got to the last day of that tour and they found, I think it was like a queue of weed that they'd lost on like day 3. I'd also come with us through all the borders and I'll fucking, I don't mind it when I know about it, but it's like if you don't
when it's a surprise to you.
How can you prepare for that? Do you know what I mean?
How do you lose a queue?
I don't know. It's like, fucking hell.
I've never lost a queue in my time. I have never been sat there and gone, where the fuck is that queue? Hold on a sec, boys. Never.
Oh, man. No. So I'm trying to think, other stories, man. Fuck, there's honestly been far too many. Our bassist Ben's pissed on my head when he was drunk one night. Oh man, more to be fair, I've got more stories from back like when Trial and Error were in Europe with Desolated. That tour we did 2 weeks in Europe. It was a UK Europe with Desolated, and it was just the most insane time. Like we stayed in our Desolated's van broke down. We got burgled and robbed. During one of our sets, a guy got knocked out clean cold, and we had to like get him back to life and stuff. Like he was actually like unhealthy, knocked out. It was like horrible. It was like wrestling. I was on the drums, and it was one of those where the show wasn't that busy, and I was just like playing like simple, like and I was just like, oh man, my whole body was just like. And he just
when they just go stiff and just hit the floor, and you're like,
we went outside to see if he was all right, and we'd been burgled. Our van had been robbed, and then Paul from Desolated was trying to calm me down because I was getting angry. So we went a walk, and as we went a walk, we watched like another guy get jumped by a group of guys in like the town centre. It was just chaotic. Charleroi in Belgium, honestly, you couldn't pay me to go back. Belgium, yeah. Charleroi,
no. I'm not doing it.
It was just fucking. It was like Vice City, mate. It was nuts. Like, the venue was like an old building that didn't have a venue in it, and it was just like a guy in the door with gloves that was like 7 foot. I was like, this is mental. Like, and then when he was stood in the door, our van was honestly parked about 10 meters across the road, and we were like, "Did you see who robbed us?"
No, not at all.
Nice.
But then. Just to finish that story off, we had to report it to the police, but they wouldn't come to us because obviously we're Brits in Belgium. So we had to go to them. So that meant we had to leave the crime scene to go to them. So we were like, nah, we'll get a lift off one of the other bands. So Dirty Fingers drove us.
Yeah.
They were all like just the wildest guys. And they were just like, everyone drinks and drives here. Like, it was crazy. Down in vodka whilst playing like games in the back and all over the road, dropped us outside the police station whilst drinking in the car and that. I was just like, fair play, man, you know what I mean? You know you. So, yeah, it was just awful, you know what I mean?
I remember you guys having van trouble on that Malev Nozo tour as well, didn't you? Like, didn't the van break down or something?
It broke down when we were in Hungary, and then trying to find a garage that would take the van in, and like we couldn't explain what it was that was wrong with it or whatever, so we had to spend 2 weeks there. And the person that had rented us the van had told us it got serviced that year or whatever. So when we phoned up the insurance company, they told us that he'd already claimed it like 4 or 5 times that year. So
no fucking way.
So we literally we managed to. How did we even get it? We think we got someone to take a look at it.
We got a mechanic to look at it, and he said he tightened some things, but he didn't think he permanently fixed anything. But so basically, it felt like it was driving a bit better, but it was making this like noise that was being described by everyone as a helicopter taking off. So it was like if you were driving, once we got up to like 70 miles an hour, it would stop. So when you're on the motorways and stuff, it was fine.
Yeah.
But if you're driving through like towns or anywhere below 50 miles an hour, it was just like,
oh, I just wasn't having it.
You're driving like a right-seater van in Europe, and it sounds like that, and it's just, oh man, it was.
Just couldn't stop on that too as well. I remember one of our friends was trying to get a bag of weed after the show, and he was like going up to people and asking them, and then so he asked this guy, and this guy was like, "Yeah, no problem. I live round the corner. Come back to mine." So our friend like
in Hamburg.
Right.
So our friend comes back like a wee bit later, and he's looking for a pretty spaced out. So I asked him what thing we. So it was a bit of like a language barrier where he was saying weed, and the guy thought he said speed.
So my god!
So he gets back to this guy's house, and the guy's just like,
accommodation.
So I think it's a sort of when in Rome situation, like.
Yeah, I know it. Speed, weed, cocaine, just do it all, and fucking just get involved. Fuck me. Andy was just saying there, Paul, about when I don't know who it was, but someone lost a cue during the time that you were doing that tour, and they found it like
the last show.
Oh yeah, and then so that's another thing about that van as well. So then find that on the last day, and then
what a lucky find.
Everybody's like, so everyone's always like buzzing, and there's like 20 of us, all the bands are everyone's out having a good time, and then get back into the van, say goodbye to everybody, pull round the corner, van breaks down.
Oh man, and you're all fucking sat there like, do we need this right now? Are you fucking mad?
So I think we had to we got it working, and then it was just like, right, don't stop till Scotland.
Did you not have to stay in third gear from Belfast?
Yeah.
And then the best part about it was when we got it back, the guy was like, there's nothing wrong with the van.
What?
We were like, mate, the back door doesn't lock. It had a car tire on it instead of a van tire.
We literally had to like the back door wouldn't open.
It sounds like a helicopter. The gearbox doesn't work. Like
it had a car tire on it. One of them got pulled over one day for the tire.
It was a large car tire.
So we had to fucking stop somewhere and buy a tire. And
then when we got stuck in Budapest, I'm sitting phoning the insurance, and the guy's like, "You don't have insurance." And I was like, right. So when I phoned the guy that owned the van, he was just like, "Oh, I'll get it sorted." Long story short, the option was, we can get you a taxi to Austria. We were in Budapest in Hungary, and the next show was in Austria. So they were like, we'll pay for a taxi for you to Austria, but then we'll have to fly you home from there. And we were like, but there's still like 10 days on this tour. We can't just like fly home. So we tried to get another van sorted. We were staying like, it was just fucking hectic. We were staying in a party hostel in Budapest that played like music all night. Doesn't stop.
No sleeping whatsoever.
Yeah.
Lying there at 7 a.m. stuck in Budapest with like £30 to my name.
And all you're hearing.
I don't drive, but I'm the one that was trying to sort the fucking van. And I was just like, fuck this, man. Do you know what I mean? I don't have time for this. So yeah, it was fucking awful. But we got back on the tour, and the first show back was the Malev release show.
Yeah.
For Self-Supremacy in Leipzig, which Tony and Beatdown Hardware put on.
Yeah.
And it was like 300 heads sold out, and it was amazing. So I'm glad we never took the option to go home in the end. You know
of course. And I mean, fuck me, how much would that have cost going from Hungary to Austria on a taxi? Like,
a taxi.
Yeah. What is pay for you to cross country?
The only reason they probably did it was because I think there was 8 of us. So it's probably cheaper to get like a minibus or like a big taxi
between you guys,
to get like 8 trains or 8 planes. Do you know what I mean? So
of course.
Not planes, but 8 seats on a plane. Fuck.
Yeah, 8 planes. Yeah, we got a plane each, boys. Let's just fuck. We're going home. Eight flames. Oh, fucking. One thing I did want to quickly talk about with Revulsion as well is some of the music videos you've done. Obviously, it was a self-titled, Paralyze, I think The Reckoning Noise and In Darkness. Was that all pretty much like filmed in Scotland, was it? In just like little practice there? Well, one was in a practice
Yeah, all of it was in Scotland. I think the
Noise was in 2017, and it was shot in our practice space that was also owned by Lewis Glass, who was a music producer. I feel sad saying that. God bless Lewis if he sees this. I love him. But he stopped doing that now. But he owned his wee studio there. But he also let like 2 or 3 bands have it as a practice space.
Awesome.
So we just kind of shot it in there. It was a guy called Mark Sharp, and he did a great job. It was our first ever video, and we didn't really want to do too much with it. And so yeah, I think it was cool. I'm not really a massive big fan of music videos anyway. So whenever we kind of do stuff like that, we try and keep it reasonably simple, but without it being like the same thing 5 times over. You know what I mean?
Of course, because I mean, watching them, they're not like, not to be rude, I don't know if this is going to sound rude, so I do apologise if it does, but they're not overcomplicated. It's just, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
this is Revulsion, deal. Like, this is us.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going like over flashy, over expensive, fucking like, woo! You know what I mean?
It would be weird as well. See, I always think if it's like, oh, you're trying to do like a story and you're getting actors, and it just comes across so like, so it might be a bit like a bit boring or whatever, just to do the band and the thing with, but I don't know. Yeah,
that's
I definitely prefer. Yeah,
that's all we want to be. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
what I'd want for you to do in the future, just as a one-off, a complete one-off, is like imagine. So I think that something similar to like what I Declare War did, I think, or the Acacia Strain did for one of their videos, where it's just like all like Hawaiian shirts and all this and all that, and just do a full-on Revulsion taking the piss out of everyone, just like the heaviest song. Like in the future, if you do anything fucking heavier than Enough to Bleed, then fair fucking dues, which you probably will. But like in fact, think about it. Have you guys been talking about recording anything new material wise, or is that anything like that in the works, or are we just sticking on what we've got for now and then progressing further later on?
I think like it's got some new ideas and stuff, but it's pretty much with the whole COVID situation, it's pretty much on the back burner. Like got an idea of like what we want to do and everything like that, but we've only been able to get one rehearsal in, I think, since and like even that's a hassle. A lot of the places, or one of the big places in Glasgow for rehearsing, is closed down during this because I don't think they were getting any help like from the government or anything. So I think that's going to be the next issue. And then, but no, for sure, like definitely, hopefully sooner rather than later, because Enough to Bleed took so long to try and get it recorded and get it out. I think people were tired of hearing about it before we'd even released it.
When a band goes, new material coming soon, you're like,
we were saying that for 2 years. It was awful. But there was never a point where we were lying. Do you know what I mean? Because the plan was to do an EP. So we basically had like 3 or 4 songs done, and we were planning on doing a 6-track. So we were like, we are almost done.
Yeah.
And then we did that, and we were like, this could be an album if we just keep writing for a bit longer. So it made more sense to do a full-length album. And then when we spoke to Tony, he was like, it makes more sense for you guys where you are to do an album. So we went with that.
That was, well, Born into Suffering, would you consider that an EP then? Like Born into Suffering?
Essentially, like a demo, or like...
It's technically a demo, isn't it? But we just didn't do like a demo. So I kind of see like a demo EP, yeah.
Yeah, so demo there, then an EP, then a 2-track, and then first full length. So no, it does make sense as to why you would have done it that way. But like in the future, obviously, if another EP or that comes out, please just on one of you, if you do a music video, you have to just go full, complete contrast to the sound that's coming out. So like full on aggression, and then the video is just happiness, rainbows, sunshine, and you're like smiling in Hawaiian shirts and stuff. That comedy gold, guys. I'd buy it.
We'll get it done.
Fucking brilliant. I mean, that pretty much covers me personally for you guys in Revulsion. Is there anything else you want to mention as a band, or is there any shout outs you want to give to people? Just in general, just to say, we're fucking fancy.
I just want to say, like, there's been lots of content online from like labels and bands during this pandemic, and it's sick to see folks still doing stuff. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's like Sean and Ben doing stuff through Northern Unrest, which I sometimes help with, but it's mainly those two guys.
I forgot to mention about Northern Unrest. I was going to ask who runs that, but you just told me.
Yeah,
there, so.
and you've got like Nuclear Family. You've got fuck me, the coming strife.
Coming Strife,
all these labels that like they feel new, but they're already doing it right, and they're bringing out like local bands, UK bands, and bands from across the water in Europe and America and stuff. So
yeah,
you gotta give it to these folk for still doing like zines and releases and comps. And I mean, From Within doing that comp was One Scene Unity in America and some UK bands on it. That was cool.
Yeah, it was Despised and Mourning got put on that, wasn't it? Is that right?
Yeah. And there's loads of good. There's a good mix. I mean, that's what I like about it. It's not like all heavy or all punk, or it's like good kind of mix and shows you the different kind of caliber of new hardcore bands coming out. So it's cool. But yeah, no, it's been cool because there's not been much to do. You know what I mean? So it's like having like live streams. I watched the Year of the Knife one on that Pulse of the Maggots.
Yeah.
It's like the Slipknot stream, or the Knot Fest.
Not festival, so yeah.
That was sick. I mean, it's cool to see like
people still being creative despite the fact that we're locked up. Like that, people are still doing stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. And obviously, like with the album, they took a more metal turn, but they're still hardcore heads. I mean, so they're very much like us. We're like, whilst they're doing more than just like hardcore, maybe like musically, they're still all there. I mean, they're the ones that are like, they're promoting other bands, they're helping other bands, they're putting on shows. Mully's doing logos, Brandon's doing art. I mean, it's they get it. I mean, they're just doing it right.
No, it's a fair shout, fair play. What about yourself, Paul? Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to there?
Yeah, just I think Scottish hardcore. Shout out Despise, Malignant Methods, Revolve, like Afterburn.
Null Vent.
Yeah, all the boys.
Yeah. It's been cool. I mean, I think after this, it's going to be cool to have shows come back and see new bands and see that, obviously, because the other thing as well I didn't even think about was like someone was like, oh, there's going to be people who have moved to Glasgow from other cities for like jobs or like becoming students.
Yeah. And
normally they would just maybe come down to a show and be like, oh, I'm studying here, but they haven't had that.
No.
So it's like there might be like, do you mean like 10 new heads from other cities that have moved here for college or uni? There's so many different scenarios that could be put in place. So I'm just excited. I hope that venues and bars and I hope that people that work in the industry as well. Do you know what I mean? I think about, I've got friends who are promoters and work through doing that, and even folk who like do things like build stages and drivers, and I hope all these folk are doing all right and stick through it, because when we get to the other side, it's going to be sick. And you know what I mean?
And so when it does go off, like you say, it is really, it'll be a strong return once it does happen. I'm pretty confident that all up and down the UK, America, well, everywhere is just going to come back in full force. Hardcore's going to come back with a fucking vengeance. Like, fuck Die Hard. It's going to be hardcore, mate. We're all coming back with a vengeance. So, it's I just got, well, as long as we stay positive, keep our heads up, and just make sure we fucking keep our eyes out on stuff and keep promoting stuff. You know what I mean? I think that'll
100%.
Keep everything.
Like you said, people yourself doing stuff like this as well, man. It's good. You know what I mean? This is the kind of thing that, like what I'm talking about when I thanked folk earlier, it's like, this is the kind of thing. It's like podcasts and zines and just content for folk just to kind of dive into and forget that if they go outside, they might catch a killer virus.
Yeah.
It's true, though. It's
no,
like,
we shouldn't laugh. I know, I'm sorry, but I know what you mean.
No.
All right, Andy, too seriously.
I'll end on a lighter note. I want to say shout out to Boom. And
massive shout out to Boom.
Ourselves, and genuinely, I think, is it hundreds yet? I think hundreds of other bands.
Yeah.
Not close to hundreds of other bands have merch available on their site, and the proceeds go to them. So it's like, whether it's our merch or whether it's someone else's,
just buy something.
If you can afford it, obviously I get times are tough, but if you can afford it, I think the t-shirts are like a tenner, the tote bags are like £5-10, so you can get something on there from a complete like different array of bands. You've got Fever 777, Revulsion, ACXDC, like Drop Dead. It's cool. It's a good mix of bands. So
Yeah, it was a good pull through. I'll probably get it linked onto this episode since you've mentioned it as well. So thanks very much for reminding me on that.
No, that's cool.
I'll definitely get that promoted for them as well.
Because that's probably one of the main venues I'd say the UK needs to stay open, amongst others. I mean, I don't want them getting all the limelight, but they are like to the core. Like,
think about it. How many bands over the years have been there, especially within the hardcore scene, who have come through Boom.
It's nuts. It's nuts. I can go there on like a Tuesday and there's like a band practicing. There's up to 3 bands playing one bill and another band playing through the other back, and there's still folk doing other stuff like in the other rooms, like art and like. I mean, it's like that's just you can't take that away. That's too important.
Exactly. So we'll definitely get that promoted out as well on top of this episode. So that's one thing there. Well, as I say, that's everything from me. I just want to say thank you once again for joining me on the episode here, and it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you guys. And hopefully, once this all returns, I'll come and annoy you in person as well.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Can't wait. Right, thank you very much for having us, man.
As I say, I'll probably as time goes on as well, obviously more in the future, and once Revulsion start doing more stuff and we all start doing more stuff, if you guys wanted to get down on the second episode, then fucking by all means, I'll get you
for
back.
sure.
100%.
And send me your address and I'll send you that tape.
Oh man, I fucking love today. Honestly, thank
send me one as well.
Yeah. Send them all.
I'm pretty sure I don't have one, so that would be nice if we have a couple. But if we only have one, it's not mine. So worry.
My fucking guys, honestly, that's made me so happy. Well, as I say, thanks very much for joining me on the Hardcore Project. This was episode 7, and we'll be back soon for more.
Take it easy.
And that concludes episode 7 of the Hardcore Project. Thank you for making it this far and listening to me being a fucking idiot. If there is any bands or anything associated with music, sort of like within the hardcore industry or metal industry, whatever, that you'd like to hear about, or like hear from certain bands or certain members, then please let me know. That'd be fucking sick. But in the meantime, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, as I say, please get it shared out, let people know what's going on, and just keep your eyes out for more Hardcore Project episodes, as there will be plenty more in the future, and we'll just be chatting absolute wham about some of the favourite bands that you enjoy listening to. Cheers. Thanks for your time.